Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will see some of the best practices and patterns to reduce code in the React application. I've been using React for a while now. I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I'd like to share some of them with you. I will try to keep this video as short as possible, and try to avoid using any external libraries. I will start with the basics, and then move on to more advanced topics. Also, I'll try to keep the code as simple as possible so that you can easily follow along. Let's get started. I'm using StackBlitz for this video. I've already created a new project, and added a simple counter component, which will render a button with the label, "Click Me." 1. You can omit a Boolean value when passing it as a prop. Instead of passing true as a value, you could simply pass the prop name. You can avoid writing redundant code this way. 2. When passing a string as a prop, avoid using curly braces. Instead of passing submit in curly braces as a value, you can simply pass submit as a value. 3. Avoid extra element only for keys. When you have a list of items, and you want to render them using a map function, we often wrap the item in another element, and we use the key prop to get rid of the warning. This extra element is not needed, and it can be avoided. You can use a React fragment instead and pass the key prop to it. This way, you can avoid wrapping the item in an element just for the key. Let's understand this with an example. We have a list of items, and we are rendering them using a map function. We can use a div element to wrap the item, and we can pass the key prop to it. This way, we can avoid the warning, but it'll add extra elements to the DOM. Sometimes because of this, we can have some styling issues. Instead of using a div element, we can use a React fragment. React fragment is a component that doesn't render anything to the DOM. It's just a placeholder for the key prop. We can use it to avoid the warning and add extra elements to the DOM. This way, we can avoid styling issues as well. 4. Avoid HTML tags in your component names. Whenever you are creating a component in your React project, you should avoid using HTML tags as a name for the component, because it can be confusing and not advisable to use HTML tags as a name for the component. We can use a descriptive name instead of using HTML tags. This way, we can avoid name conflicts and confusion. The same goes for the prop names. When you are passing a prop to a component, try to make it descriptive. This way, it can be easier to understand what the prop is for. For example, we have a student component and we are passing class name as a prop. It's not clear what the prop is for. Is it for the class name? Or is it for the class name of the student? So, we can use something like student class instead of class name as a prop name. This way, it can be easier to understand what the prop is for. 5. No need of else block. When you have an if statement that returns a value or a component, you don't need to use an else block to return a fallback value or component, because the else block will not be executed if the value is returned from the if block. As a result, after the if block, you can remove the else block and return the fallback value or component directly. This isn't just for React, but it's good practice in general. 6. State as an object. When you have multiple state variables, it's better to use an object instead of multiple set state. This way, you can update multiple state variables at once, and you can also use the previous state to update the current state. Note, it's not mandatory to use an object, but it can be useful in some cases and code can be more readable. Let's try to understand this with an example. We have a counter component that has two state variables, count and double. When we click on the button, we want to increment the count state variable, and we also want to update the double state variable. We can do this by using the setState call for both state variables, but it's better to use an object instead. This way, we can update both state variables at once, and we can also use the previous state and new count value to update the double state variable. 7. Use object instead of switch statement. Most of the time, we use switch statements to render different components based on the condition. What we generally do is create a variable and assign a component to it based on the condition. Then, we return that variable in the render method or as JSX from the function component. This is not a bad practice, but it can be improved. To improve this, we can create an object and assign the component to its key. Then, we can use the object to render the component based on the key. This way, we don't need to use a switch statement and the code looks more readable and clean. We can also use react.lazy to load the component only when it's needed. Instead of directly importing the component and adding it to the object, we can assign using react.lazy and import the component only when it's needed. This way, we can load the component only when it's needed and also improve the performance of the application. This approach can be used in other cases as well, like Redux reducers, where we can use an object instead of a switch statement to handle different actions. For instance, we can create an object of reducer actions and assign a function to its key. Then, we can use the object to call the function based on the key. This way, we don't need to use a switch statement. Whenever reducer action is triggered, we can call the function from the object and pass the payload to it. If the key doesn't exist in the object, we can return the default state. I've blogged about this topic, you can check it out in the description below. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it and found it useful. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. I will see you in the next video.